Hey YouTubers, it's Valerie with Money Mindset Coach, and I want to talk about the month of February because I consider it the month of love. We have Valentine's Day coming up. Um, not everybody is in a relationship. I think we love many people in many different ways, but I'm going to be talking about actual romantic love. And I don't know if I was listening to a podcast or what the other day, but all of a sudden, the three things that came to me while I was driving down the road that I feel is all that a relationship needs is, number one, kind words. The way we talk to each other. A lot of times you can be together for a long time and you don't talk to each other like you did in the beginning. Because when you first meet somebody, you're wanting to put that your best foot forward. You're not going to snap their head off when you first meet somebody, because would they ever go out with you again? Probably not. So you're nice. And we need to still remember to be nice and to speak to each other in kind words, the tone of voice, all those things. But I'll get more into that. But kind words, romantic gestures, those little things that say, I love you, I care, I'm thinking about you. I'm sorry, but as a woman, I can't speak for men, but as a woman, these three things that I'm going to be talking about are the only things I need. Only things. The others is loving touches. So kind words, romantic gestures, and loving touches. If you have that, I think you got it made. And I think that your relationship will last a very long time. So let's get into it. If you don't know me, my name is Valerie. I usually talk about money, budgeting, all that kind of stuff. But every once in a while, I just have an idea and I want to talk about something, a specific topic. And that's what today is. I just want to talk about love and romance because we are in the month of February. So, kind words. What do kind words really do for a relationship? There is an emotional connection when you have those kind words and you speak to each other that way. You are going to be emotionally connected to this person. A lot of times those are going to be words of affirmation. And if any of you are familiar with the love languages, words of affirmation is one of them. But just hearing that, and it's just simple. If there's a man listening, if your wife or your girlfriend or your partner is wearing something, maybe you're going out and you're going to a wedding or someplace special, and she looks really good. She's put the makeup on, she's done the hair. You need to tell her, wow, you look nice. Notice. Please notice how she looks. You can think it in your head, and that's all well and good, but if you don't come out with it and you don't say, you look really great, that will make her feel really good that you noticed. And it'll make her feel prettier too. Conflict resolution. Gentle and kind communication helps resolve disagreements. When we get worked up, when we start snapping at each other, when we start yelling, you're not going to be able to solve anything. You really aren't. It just gets worse. It's not going to get any better. Encouragement and support, loving words, uplift your partner. Sometimes you just need to hear. Guys tend to want to fix everything. And a lot of times the women in their lives just need to emotionally vent and just say, I had a really rotten day. You just need to say, yeah, oh, that sounds terrible. Oh, I understand. Don't try to tell them, well, if you would have done this, if you hadn't done that, maybe you would have had a better day. That's not what they need to hear. They need to hear your encouragement. They need to hear your support. That is what women need. Trust and security. Kind words fosters a safe place. A woman really isn't going to be in a safe place without those kind words. Because if all they think is they're going to get their head bit off if they say what they think or say what they feel, they will stop saying what they think and saying what they feel. They will stop. I have been there. Romantic spark. When you compliment your partner, sweet messages, expressions of love keep the romance alive. It really does. And so anyway, I hope that these are encouraging to people. You know, I know most of my audience are women, but I do have men also. And this is just something that I think is good for all of us, whether we're male or female. These are just good. These are just good. And I've been thinking about this for a while. And so anyway, romantic gestures. The gestures are important. You can't stop doing those things. Love notes. A lot of people do that in the beginning, and then it falls away, and they don't do it anymore. And that written note, you can keep that forever. That will never go away. And those are treasured. Those are absolutely treasured. Random I love you texts, or even just saying it when you're in person. When I was married, we basically, at the end of every conversation, especially on the phone, was love you too. And it's not bad to say that. It really isn't. I think there's a time and a place for that. But I have to say that with my boyfriend, we do love each other. We do say it. We don't say it all the time, but we know it. And I think the last time he said it, and I was getting ready to go to come home, back to my house, and he said, I love you. And it kind of shocked me because he doesn't say it that much. We've been together 8.5, going on 9 years. He doesn't say it that often, but when he does say it, I think it means a whole lot more than if he said it all the time, if that makes any sense. And I looked at him and I said, wow. And he says, well, he said, I don't think that it ought to be said all the time. It doesn't really have to be, but it's nice to hear. And it just was out of the blue, which really made it special to me because it wasn't a time where you expected him to say it. It was just completely random. And I really, really liked that. And I really appreciated it. And that was a few months ago, and I still remember it. Acts of service. Do something that makes their day easier. I remember Dr. Phil saying many times on his television show, especially if he was talking to a married couple that was having problems, he would say, I get up in the morning and I just want to make Robin's day better. That's what I want to do. I want to make her life better. And he would find a way to do that every day. Well, they've been together 40 some years now, and you build on that and you do that every day, you're going to have a very strong relationship. Holding hands and cuddling, physical touch, that's very important. It's very important to touch each other. If you just pass each other, you sit next to each other on the couch, but you're not, there's a closeness that develops when you're actually, and too many times, and I mean, my mom and dad were married for 62 years. And in that last house that they lived in, they had this big living room, and they had a couch, but there were recliners. But his recliner was on one side of the room and her recliner was on the other side of the room. And I remember going over to their house and sitting on the couch and thinking, why are you so far away from each other? I didn't ever want to be that far away. I like sitting next to the person that is my significant other, husband, boyfriend, partner, whatever you want to call them. I want to be near them. I don't want to be on the other side of the room. And I think that's kind of a mistake. That happens over a period of years, and it's not good. It's not good. Playing their favorite song that reminds you of them. That's kind of hard with my boyfriend because I don't really even know what his favorite songs are. He couldn't even tell you his favorite groups. He just knows when a song comes on the radio if he likes that song. He might not even know who sings it. I will know who's singing it, but he doesn't know. So I don't know. It's really hard. I don't really know what his favorite songs are because we really don't listen to music, and I really think that we should. So, Tom, if you're watching this, listen. Surprise and thoughtful gestures. This is cool. Plan a spontaneous date. A new restaurant, a picnic, cozy night in. We have too many cozy nights in. I like to get out every once in a while and go have a change of scenery. But I do know the town that I live in is a tourist town, and there was this couple that came in. This person ended up being somebody that I went to school with 50 years ago, and we had not seen each other for 50 years, but she brings her husband to this town where I live. And I always ask people, I'm like, how did you happen to come here? How did you happen to hear about it? And she told me, she said, I've heard about this town for years. And she said, I have wanted to come here for the longest time. She basically planned the trip, told her husband to get in the car, and she started driving, and he didn't even know where they were going. I thought that was kind of fun. They ended up having a great time while they were here. But she said she kidnapped her husband. And I think that's kind of a neat romantic thing to do. Recreate your first date. Those are always going to be special, especially if you've been together for a while. The very first date that my boyfriend and I had was a Mexican restaurant. And I like to, on our anniversary of that date, I like to go to a Mexican restaurant. So that is something that we tend to do around that time. So I can understand that. Write a heartfelt letter. People don't write letters anymore, and I really think that is totally missing. There's text, emails and stuff, but the actual pen to paper that somebody could have forever and ever, that they can pick up and they can hold. There's something to that. And I have been reading Barbra Streisand's memoir again. And throughout the book, she talks about, she's 81 years old. And so this was over a long period of years where people used to write thank you notes, letters. And she keeps all of those and all these wonderful things that people had written to her, directors, other actors, romantic relationships. She's kept everything that was ever written to her. And I thought, what a wonderful thing to have that to look back on, It's really cool. So there is something to writing a heartfelt letter, a surprise gift. I really do believe that gifts that don't have anything to do with an anniversary, birthday, Christmas, even Valentine's Day, because those things are expected. But when you get a gift out of the blue for no reason at all, those are the ones that you probably remember. I know I do. And I remember there was one time that my boyfriend, he bought a towel at some store, that down at the bottom it said 99%. It had an umbrella, and I think it had a wine bottle, and it said 99% chance of wine. Because we did in the very beginning was going to a lot of wineries and stuff. I hadn't really been to too many wineries in my whole life, and he took me to so many of the wineries in this area. But he bought me this towel that said 99% chance of wine. And I still have it. I still have that towel. I will never get rid of it because it was a complete surprise. He just said, I bought you something today. And that was really, really cool. And I love that. Leave a voice note, which on my phone I've got this voice memo thing that you can do. I think that that's a really cool way to leave your voice, because I do think in this day and age, too many couples communicate through text. And when you communicate through text and you don't hear the voice, there's so many things that can be read into those words when you're not hearing the person. I really believe that text messages can sincerely get people in trouble. I mean, how many times with letters did people use the term read between the lines? They were reading it, but they were kind of wondering about the meaning of some of the things. A lot of times a text can be taken the wrong way if, say, you're in a bad mood and you read a text, you might take it not the way that they wrote it. So if you do a voice memo and you send it like that, they hear your voice. They if your voice cracks, if you get emotional, they hear all of that. And in a text message, you just don't hear that. You don't hear it. With romantic gestures, those are just regular ones. There are grand ones that you can do. Like planning the weekend getaway. That's a fun thing to do. A love jar. I think too many times we don't think about why we love the person. We know we love them, but I don't think we always think about why we love them. And if you can write some of those things down, and actually, I ended up finding some little notes that I had written about my boyfriend. And I think they were like in a purse and like in a zippered compartment or something. And I had totally forgotten they were there. And I took them out, and it's like, one of them was, I can always depend on him. He's my best friend. He's this, he's that. And I was like, wow. When I found those, I thought, that's really neat. I wrote those quite a while ago, probably early on in our relationship. Organize a surprise celebration. This would never work for my boyfriend. He would never want a surprise birthday party. He would not like that at all. But if he's watching this video, I wouldn't mind that. I'm okay with that. I know he doesn't like that, but I would. Create a playlist of favorite songs. I don't really know his music that well, so I couldn't do that. Dance together. I love to dance. I really, really do. And the last time that we danced was at my niece Sarah's wedding. And my oldest son ended up recording it. And I have that video of us dancing together. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But you can just dance in the living room, You can just do that. I would like to do that more, definitely. It isn't really the size of the gesture. It's the thought behind it. That means everything. And then for the last thing that I truly believe, you do these 3 things, this could go a long way in your relationship, is the loving touches. There are everyday affectionate things that you can do. Holding hands, hugging, kissing, the gentle caresses, running your fingers through their hair, or what my boyfriend would do is he would sometimes we'd be sitting there watching TV and he'd just put his hand on my head. And I loved that feeling. It was like, oh. And I think that must come from my childhood and some person in my family, some adult that did that, and it made me feel safe or loved or something. Must be. I have no idea who it was or when it was, but I know that is how I feel when he does that. And I don't think he really even thought about that when he did it, but anyway, that kind of says something to me. Somebody else might not like that at all, but I do. More intimate, the slow dancing, cuddling, massages, nuzzling. That's nice too. Hand on the waist or the back. This reminds me of the movie Sleepless in Seattle, when Tom Hanks talks about helping his late wife out of the car, and he took her hand and helped her out of the car. And then he would always put his hand on the small of her back. I always really love it when I see a couple where the man will reach over and just have his hand on the small of her back. It just is the sweetest thing, you know? I just love that. And I think that Tom Hanks talked about doing that, and it struck me like, oh, I love that. I love that. I don't think you can have too many loving touches. I really don't. I doubt if a woman is ever going to really turn them down. But find out what really means a lot to her. But there's also reassuring touches. Squeezing their hand. That makes me think, oh my gosh, I don't want to get emotional. But this reminds me of my grandmother. And she would hold your hand, and she would squeeze it 4 times. And the 4 times meant, do you love me? And then you would squeeze back, yes, I do. And then she would do 2, how much? And then you'd squeeze her hand as hard as you could. Oh my gosh. I don't know where that came from. Oh my gosh. I love that. If we were in church, she would do that. And it was a silent way of saying that you loved each other. Now that's a grandparent, grandchild loving touch, but it's the same thing, you know? When you squeeze somebody's hand, it's different than just holding their hand. It's saying, I love you. I love you. And that was the neatest thing. Okay, here we go. Resting your hand on their shoulder. That's a very nice thing to do. Rubbing their back. Wrapping them in your arms, or them wrapping you in their arms. There is no safer, most wonderful place when you have someone who's wrapped both of their arms, not just one, but both of their arms around you, or you wrapping their arms around them. There is nothing that is more wonderful than that. Absolutely. But yeah, that's the end of my video. Oh gosh, I didn't mean to get emotional. My grandmother, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 67, and she has been gone since I was 21. So she's been gone a long time. But she was absolutely wonderful. And the weird thing about her, not weird, the very loving thing about her is that she didn't she didn't have favorite grandchildren, but yet all of us felt like each of us, we all felt like we were her favorite, but she didn't play favorites. How does somebody do that? I don't even know. My other grandmother, my paternal grandmother, she definitely played favorites, and you knew it. And I swore I never wanted to be like that. Never, never, never. So anyway, if you found value in this love video, comment, like, subscribe. One thing I always forget to say is next to the name of somebody's channel, there's like a little bell. And if you hit that, that means that you are notified of a new video. So that's a good thing to do, because then when I have another video, you will see it. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get emotional, but I really truly believe in these kind words, romantic gestures, and loving touches. To me, you put those together, I think you're going to have a pretty good relationship. I really do. I really do. And you know what? Maybe you're struggling in your relationship. Maybe some of these things can make it better. Maybe it can rekindle something. Who knows? But, or maybe you're doing all these things. I don't know. But I really truly believe that marriage can be hard. Relationships can be hard, especially, long term. They can be difficult, because different people have different ideas, and they've grown up different ways, and there's all kinds of things that can be conflict in a relationship. But if you really, really try to be kind, have those wonderful gestures, loving touches, they can go a very long way in helping you get through the other things. So anyway, that's all I have for now. Use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Till next time. Bye.